Welcome to the Awesome Talks Project, an experimental podcast that is completely unscripted and unedited. There's no website, no email address, and there are no social media accounts. It's just me having awesome talks with my friends about stuff that matters and sharing it with the world. Hey people, welcome to... I almost said Two Artsy Gals. That's our third episode of Awesome Talks Project. And just to remind everybody, even though you probably already heard this in the intro, I say it in the intro, we don't edit this. We're just recording as we talk. And the only editing I do is for sound quality. And then I just slap it out there. So we're talking about sex today. Just to put some parameters around that topic because it could go so many places. We're talking specifically about how we were raised, like how the attitude towards sex in our homes and how we were raised as young women and how we feel that affected our sexuality and the way that we perceived sex and the way that we had sex through our lives, like from the time we were children until our adulthoods. So, just a reminder to you two, I don't edit this.
Yes.
So if there's shit that you don't want the world to know about, don't say it. Mm-hmm. But, today I have Lonnie with me. Hi, Lonnie.
Hello.
And Christy is back.
Hello.
So, and I'm going to set my timer. I'm trying to pull it up on my phone. I'm not going to use the windy timer this time because it drove me crazy when I listened to the episode.
Was it making noise?
I could just hear it in the background.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I have this weird, I don't know. I want the timer, not the stopwatch. We're not racing. We're not 10 hours, 1 hour. Okay, here we go. I don't know how to work my timer. Start. All right. There we go. The timer's set. I'm going to push this door around a little bit, but not leave it closed all the way.
I like how everything leading up to this was a big innuendo. Like, is it in? Is it turned on?
Put in the pink
thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were having trouble getting the sound to go for some reason.
Is it plugged in your backside?
Yeah. And we could not. And then I think we were. At first we weren't doing it on purpose, but then we were doing it.
Yeah.
Totally
good stuff.
We were warming up.
Yeah, that's right. Getting ready.
Speaking of warming up, it's fucking hot today.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It's making me feel not sexy.
No, it's beautiful today.
You like hot weather?
It's perfect like it is. I wouldn't ask for anything more than this, though.
No.
This is good right here.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. There's too mas. Too mas hot. All right. So I guess let's just kind of start. Like, who wants to jump? Do you want to jump in? Like, what was sex like in your house growing up? Like, how was it talked about? Did you get the talk? Like, was there body shaming, sex shaming? Like, tell me, Lonnie's.
These are good questions. I remember my mom giving me that book, Where Did You Come From? Or Where Did I Come From? And I think that was like 4th grade. And my parents didn't seem sexual at all. My parents sometimes didn't seem to like each other that much. There wasn't a lot of affection. Like, I saw them kissing once and I was like, oh my God, what? They do that? Like, so, yeah, it wasn't like there was that energy in my home at all. And so I got this book, and it was kind of surreal. But I don't know if I got the book. No, probably after I'd found my dad's dirty magazines. I thought those were interesting. I was like, ooh.
How dirty were these magazines?
Oh,
though?
man,
Were they
they're dirty.
Oh,
no,
okay.
Penthouse.
Yeah. Hustler.
The good ones.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh. So that, I think, was yeah, I don't know. Played doctor with the neighbor kid. That kind of thing.
But did you like...
I don't know.
When that kind of stuff took place, do you feel like your parents just didn't speak to you about it? Or was it taboo? Or was it...
They just didn't. And then when my mom did a little bit, but it was kind of awkward. Like...
Is it? I think it's always awkward.
Yeah, it would come up like,
Still
masturbation. Awkward. Yeah, that's a thing people do. It's okay.
Oh, wow.
You know? Yeah. Like...
No, I didn't get that
And
at
that's
all.
why I'd be like, oh my God. Because then I would think, oh, my mom does that? Ooh. You know, and I would kind of freak out a little bit on the inside. Like, because just, yeah. my parents didn't seem like sexual beings or whatever. You know, they were just like,
they were just people.
Yeah, so it was kind of surreal, I guess, a little bit. Like, the idea of it. I knew that, you know, oh, this is kind of titillating or whatever, but I don't know what that means or how that plays out. I didn't figure that out till later.
As you got older and into your teens and, like, you know, to the age where you were definitely, sex was on the table, do you feel like your parents addressed it then, or do you feel like there was any shame?
Oh, definitely.
Like, from your parents?
Shame.
Or
Yeah, that's weird, because I haven't thought about this stuff very much, but yeah, like...
I think I've had enough therapy that I've been forced to think about it. So.
My mom found a condom wrapper under my bed and was like, "What is this? Oh my God." And I was like, "Well, could you take me to get the pill? Because I would really rather do that." "No, my daughter's not going to be on the pill." You know, I think I was 14 or 15. I was pretty young, but...
No,
I was like, all right, I think I found my way there anyway. Somehow I found my way to Planned Parenthood and figured it out myself. Yeah. I figured it out myself because my mom was just like, blah, blah, blah. I want to deny that this is happening and don't want to, you know, didn't know how to talk to me about it really. And so I kind of had to figure that all out on my own, and we didn't even have the internet back then, so
I know kids these days
to ask people and like figure it out. Where do I go?
We had to go to our dad's porn stash, and we had to figure all that fucking shit out ourselves.
There was no, and you couldn't be private about it. You had to like ask or figure it out, like, okay, well, I'm sexually active and I need birth control. How do I, you know, get this?
Christy, what was the temperature about sex in your house growing up?
A lot like Lonnie's, where mine never saw my parents hugging or kissing.
Did they speak about sex ever in front of you guys?
No, I'm pretty sure the time, like, my parents had sex maybe twice, and that was because there's me and my brother, and beyond that, I don't know if they ever did. My mom always was kind of cold and frigid about it, which is so weird. And it left an impression on me that I shook off pretty hardcore later in life.
Yeah.
Do you feel like
it wasn't something that women enjoyed or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
you're
what?
not exactly.
Yeah. Like later I was like, what? This is fun. What the heck?
With the right person, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know who you are, buddy, but this is not good. You know.
Yeah, totally. Weird.
I had to figure it out myself. Yeah, because my mom made it seem like I wasn't supposed to like it.
Yeah.
Oh, we grew up in the 70s, right? As kids? Yeah. And so we were bombarded with innuendos constantly on TV. Like, looking back, even the cartoons we watched.
Dude, like, even cartoons. And,
it was
like,
all like,
I was watching I was up late watching Three's Company one night, and I was like, why did my parents let me watch this?
Yeah, and so
I mean, this was just one fucking sports jacket short of an orgy. Like, they just get rid of it.
Yeah, but they were so good at it where it's like, I don't think I realized they were talking about sex at that time.
No.
It just went right over my head. And then later, looking back on it, I'm like, holy shit, the 70s was all about innuendo
all free
and
love, but
like,
not really.
Yeah. But my parents weren't doing that.
No.
That's what I saw on TV.
Because our parents grew up in the 50s.
Yeah.
And 60s.
In the 60s, which was all about the free love. So where the frigid came from, I have no idea.
Yeah.
No, but I feel like my parents were older. Like, okay, my mom and dad did graduate in 1970. However, maybe it's just that I was raised in such a small town, and maybe for you also. I don't know. I feel like Bay City, where I grew up, was like the 1950s. Like, I feel like it was always a decade behind the times.
We were that way too.
I still feel like it is this way. Actually, when I go to Bay City now, I definitely feel a distinct late 80s, early 90s era.
Yeah.
There's still plenty of mullets down there. You know? But I don't know. In my house, sex was weird. Like, I think... Excuse me. I feel pretty fucked up. Like, I think I've just had a lot of struggles with sex as an adult because I was raised Catholic. And I definitely grew up in a house where there was a lot of shame around my body and sex. Like,
You don't give it up to just anybody.
well, and even younger than that, like, I can remember my mom telling me not to touch my vagina because it was dirty. Like, you don't touch that, it's dirty.
Oh, yeah, see, no, we didn't have the religion
No,
piece.
it was that. And
we
then
didn't
it
have
was
that.
just even, I think that my mom probably had a lot of judgment placed on her body by my grandmother, sexually speaking. So there was this attitude that you had to be a lady, you had to act like a lady. But at the same time,
Which, what is that? You know,
yeah,
like,
right. At the same time, my dad was a
an aspirin
really
between your knees.
fucking misogynistic. Like, he would ridicule my mom for not having sex with him often enough in front of
See, that, I
oh,
hate
we
that.
never
in
had-
front of
oh,
us
see,
as
I
kids.
didn't have to see that
but
either. Fuck
that kind of makes me realize that I grew up in a house that probably had a lot of abuse that I just thought was normal as a child. But my dad would be like, "Well, if you put out more than once a month and blah
I
blah
have
blah."
friends that do that now. I have friends
Wow.
that they are in their 30s, late 30s, early 40s, and they do that now in public. And I'm just like,
Is it that one couple?
no, it's not them.
Oh, God.
I have one couple of friends. They just, their whole life is out in the street for everybody to watch that circus.
Oh, wow, wow,
But,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
And
It's a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I was like, "Whoa."
another couple I know that
That's such a sweet way of putting it, though. That's so cute. It's
I'm
out
like,
there for everyone to see.
I'm like, yeah, but another couple that I know, they'll banter back and forth like that in public, and it makes me incredibly uncomfortable because, one, I'm not supposed to laugh because, well, I'm friends with both of them.
I would
Yeah.
laugh.
I
Yeah.
can't laugh at your misfortune.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just want to coil up and die because I would never want somebody doing that to me.
Right.
No, well, and then here's this-
Yeah, in front of your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I grew up with
Fuck,
this
it's rude.
weird mixed message of, like, I grew up thinking that, okay, well, sex is dirty. My
Yeah.
body's dirty. I shouldn't be touching it. I shouldn't, like, women don't like sex. I shouldn't be interested in sex. I'm a bad person because I am curious about sex. But on the other hand, I have to have sex with boys to make them like me, was the message that I was getting from my dad. Like, that you
Oh,
have to
yeah,
have
God.
sex because
Yeah.
Because of what he was
that's
saying,
what
yeah.
makes, like, he was angry with my mom and didn't like my mom because my mom wasn't having sex with him. Like, as a child, that's what I'm seeing. So I didn't
And you felt
masturbate.
justified enough to say that in front of you, even.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I think that that's just misogynistic and weird because
Yeah.
there were weird attitudes about sex all my life. And as I got older, I started my period and my mom got me maxi pads because that's what my mom used. But all of my girlfriends used tampons. And as I got, had more periods and got more comfortable with the fact that, oh, okay, well, this traumatic thing's happening every month now, I didn't like the pads. And I wanted to try tampons. And my mom told me only whores use tampons.
oh my.
It was a big household fight.
Whoa.
And my mom screamed at me, only whores use tampons. And my dad was like,
Whoa.
whoa, Joy,
Where do I sign up?
simmer down.
Well, how do I become one of these whores so I can get tampons?
Yeah.
Mary Magdalene was a whore. Where do I sign up?
Well, exactly. Don't even get me started on that Catholic shit. But yeah, so I went through this like whole, and even when I wanted to wear like cute underwear, like
No.
string bikinis or bikini underwear,
No.
my mom was like, "Those are whore underwear. You can't wear whore underwear." And I'm
You
like,
will
"So
not
I
have
have
days
to
of the week
wear
underwear. No.
white cotton underwear that pull up to my nipples like you do."
I'm going to check these into my bra now.
When-
When all of my friends were wearing cute bikini underwear,
With the days of the week on them?
yeah,
'cause those were prohibited.
I never
in my
had.
house.
I never
Nope.
had days of our week underwear.
Nope, not allowed.
But I did
Don't know why.
eventually get, like, for seriously, you guys, until I was in the 3rd grade and my mom stopped being able to find them in my size. She got me those nylon underpants with the lace sewn to
Yeah.
the butt
Yeah.
ruffle, like ruffles on the butt.
Oh.
Okay, and now we call those
Yeah.
petty pants in a lot of
Yeah.
ways.
Nylon.
Which are now kind of supposed to be sexy.
Ugh.
Right? You're like,
I've been
Little
imagining
Bo
a
Peep.
diaper cover, but that's not.
It
what you're
looks
talking
like a
about.
diaper cover, but they're
little,
underpants.
little Bo Peeps gear underneath her skirt.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, really, I had this unhealthy. I think that my mom has a very unhealthy attitude about her body and sex, and I think that it really carried over to me. And even now, this is so weird and kind of not having anything to do with sex, but my mom was telling me about a conversation that she had with a man she's dating right now, which is a big deal that my mom's dating someone. And she said that she would, I was telling him you were such a sweet preppy in high school. And I'm like, have you rewritten history in your brain?
Uh-huh.
I wasn't a preppy. And she goes, yes, you were. You always dressed so nice. And I said, Mom,
Seriously?
you are, we got into this huge argument. And I don't know why I was so offended that she said I was a preppy in high
That's
school.
like a slam.
I wasn't a preppy in high
Don't call
school.
me a preppy.
I'm like, I don't think you know what a preppy is. I didn't dress like a preppy.
Hard
And
to
then
be.
they started
Such
naming.
a funny word.
I won't come up with the names of, I won't say the names of the people, but I started naming off all these girls that I went to high school with that are kind of bitches now.
That were preppies.
And I'm like, those were preppies, Mom. I dressed like Kelly Bundy.
Yeah.
I was
did
not
too.
a preppy. I was
black.
like a
Yeah.
rocker chick. And that's not. No. But that goes right along with this whole, like,
She's putting this on you. This is
yeah,
how she
this image
sees-
that she would have liked
Yeah.
me to
Yeah.
have been. So, like, I did not masturbate until I was 18 years old.
I was
Legitimately.
such a horny kid.
I didn't
did it
know
all
how
the
to
time.
masturbate. I was told
Before I
that my
even knew what I
vagina was
doing.
dirty.
Oh my god, this has just dawned on me recently how much I did when I was a kid.
But I think that it's
Like,
normal.
I'm like,
You didn't
oh
Lonnie.
realize
my
that's what
God.
it was. It just felt good, so you did
yeah,
it.
yeah. I
Yeah.
would hump things and stuff. Like my grandparents had. Okay, this is terrible. I'm going to confess something. My grandparents had a scale that you stand on, and the dial is up here, so it had a post going up. So I would like grind on that thing. Like, oh my god.
Like, that feels good. I'm going to keep doing
I was
this.
probably only like 9.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I-
what?
I didn't do any
I
of
was
that
very-
because if I got caught doing that, I was shamed.
I was
I
embarrassed
was
that
told
but
that I
would do
was
it
being
anyway.
dirty. And it was like an ordeal. And I didn't masturbate. I didn't know that there was a payoff for women having sex until, like, my friend Carrie. She graduated a year before me. And it was my senior year. And I was hanging out talking to her. And she was talking about having an orgasm. And I'm like, women do, like, what?
What is that? Yeah.
And she's like, she explained it all to me, and I'm like, oh. And she's like, don't you masturbate? And I'm like,
Yeah, that's
girls
dirty.
don't do that.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
I was told women didn't do that.
Wow.
So I didn't do that. And she's like, then she told me how to do it, like, in the bathtub with the water. And I will tell you, I was taking a bath everywhere I could fucking take a bath.
Shit is
Yeah.
clean, clean,
Yep.
clean, clean.
Yes.
Yep.
Like, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
I see why women would want to have sex.
Yeah.
Do you have siblings, Lonnie?
I do have an older brother.
Excellent. I know you have brothers.
Mhm.
How did your parents handle it when it came to your brothers? Was it treated differently?
I don't even know.
I'm not even really sure, except for that I know.
I'm gonna ask him.
I ask him, please. I would be
Yeah,
interested
What
to
his
know.
recollection is?
Yeah, because it was.
I think
definitely
it was
separate.
different because I think that my dad handled it with my
It's not like we
brothers, and I
talked
think it
about
was
it.
like a dude thing.
Yeah, like maybe on one of their hunting trips. They
Yeah,
talked
something
about
like
kind
that.
of thing.
What about in your house?
I don't think my mom necessarily had the sex talk with my brother, but I do remember a lot. My brother liked to touch himself as a kid, but I think that's a boy thing. And so my mom would be like, quit touching that thing, you weenie wagger. Boys have a weird thing about
My
flipping
mom
their junk around.
definitely would have not. I think that I don't recall her saying this to my brothers, but I'm sure they would have gotten the same. That's
Quit
dirty.
touch it."
Stop doing that. Because when my son was a little boy, like a little tiny guy, I'm surprised that my son does not have a penis that hangs to his knee because he
pulling on
yanked on his wiener all the time.
It's a boy thing.
I'm like, dude. And all I ever said to him about that was, "Hey,
Got a shelf
August, you know what, buddy? It's okay that you're doing that,
it's yours.
but it's kind of rude to do it in front of other people just because it makes other people feel embarrassed. So
We don't want to see your junk.
you should do that in your room. That's a
Yeah.
private thing. That when you touch your penis, that's for you and not for anyone else to see." But he talked about, and we called them penises and vaginas. And
Yeah,
in
that's
my
what I-
house, raising my children, we called them popos and bobos. And whatever. And my mom would be like, I still don't remember what a popo and a bobo and a tutu or whatever it was. She had code words for everything. But
Super secret.
but when August was like 3, I think, maybe 2, he's like, hey, he called my mom a gog. like short for Gaga. He called her Gaga before he could really talk, and then he just shortened it to Gog. He's still 20, almost 21, and he calls her Gog. But he goes, Gog, I have a penis, and you have a vagina. And my mom was like, make him stop saying that. And I'm like,
It's a scientifically correct term.
no,
Why?
I'm not going to make him stop saying penis.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he has. He has a penis, Mother. And he's correct. You do have a vagina. No, I don't.
You might not use it, but you got one.
I have a doo-doo.
Yeah, whatever the secret code word is.
Yeah.
Secret
I
code
have
word.
a fluffer fluff.
Yeah. It's a fluff for fluff, and it only glitters and unicorns happen in it, and it's...
My little precious flower.
Yeah. No.
Oh, the flower.
Isn't it weird? It's weird to me because, Jesus, how did we get here? We're human beings. We breed so we can make more human beings. You know what I mean?
No, I don't do it for that reason. I do it because I like it. There
Well,
would be
no, I
nothing
know,
coming
but
out of
there's
there.
also that. I mean, you know, like,
No.
I'm glad you're here.
yeah.
I am, because this is an important thing. Because
But, like, it's weird that it became such a shameful thing. That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
Yeah, no.
like, how is this? Why? Like, I don't get it. It's weird to me.
How long it take to shake the shame? That's the next question.
Yeah.
well, it's taken... I can tell you that
Take a long time.
Yeah.
I did not have sex as an adult human being and not feel guilty about it until after I had my son. So I was 22 years old when I
Shook the shame.
stopped getting like a sick feeling in my stomach of guilt every time I had sex. But it took me until I was in my 30s almost to be just okay with the fact that, you know what? I have sex. I like sex. I'm not a whore because I like sex. It's no different when I have multiple sexual partners in my life than when a man has multiple sexual partners in
Right,
his life.
yeah.
There's no such thing. The slut shaming makes me so angry, and I
Yeah.
think that it's a very damaging thing that women do to each other, and it makes me so mad.
Yeah,
I get so
remember-
angry when I hear other, even women who like, well, that fucking whore. When your spouse or your partner cheats on you, well, what about him?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a blame everybody kind of
Yeah,
situation.
yeah.
I don't narrow it in on one. If
Yeah.
you get cheated on, everybody's to blame.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
it's a whole situation. Yeah.
Everybody's going down.
Yeah.
Not just her.
Yep.
Him too.
Yep.
Like,
No,
And
and
then I have to
it's
take
just
my own part in it. You
Well,
know?
and when you
Or
hear
everything,
women-
you know, the whole thing.
when you hear women put other women down, which I don't get that. I'm not
Yeah.
a jealous person, so I've never been one of those mean girls that puts down other girls. Just I don't know why they do it. To be perfectly honest, I want to do an episode about that kind of shit though,
Yeah,
about
yeah.
bullying and being a mean girl, separate of this. But I think that we should acknowledge the fact that women make it worse. Like women excuse it and make it okay almost by using it when it's convenient for them to shame. And it's just not okay.
Yeah.
if I'm going to shame a woman, it's not because of her sexual appetite or the amount of partners she's had.
Right, yeah,
I'm going to shame
no.
her for something else.
Yeah.
Because I don't like you. You know.
Well, and it's okay to just not like somebody
I don't
without
like you, but I'm
shaming
not
them.
going to
Like,
slut shame you. Who the hell am I to
No.
judge you?
no, and that's
that
another
aspect.
thing that my dad did a lot. I mean, obviously there was slut shaming in my house if only whores used tampons and wore pretty underpants. But my dad would say, like, "Oh, look at her! If she had as many poking out of her as she did in her, she'd be a porcupine." Like, or
And you're thinking, oh, is that considered lucky?
like I'm just thinking, I don't want to be a porcupine. What? Like, and this is when I was a kid. Like, I grew up with this. And it's even the other thing that he used to say all the time. It made me uncomfortable. And as an adult, a lot of my friends have confessed that my dad made them uncomfortable when we were growing up, because he would say shit like, "Oh, look at that lady's legs, Katie. They go all the way up and make a real nice ass of themselves." And I'd be like, okay. But again, the message my dad was sending me was that women were definitely
To be ogled?
sex objects and nothing else.
They were pretty to look at, but that was about it.
And then my mom was giving me this message where you can't
Dirty,
enjoy that or be that, or like only whores liked sex.
Yeah.
So it was fucking
Confusing.
weird. It was confusing. And I will
Yeah.
say that I led some pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? I slept with a lot of dudes. What do you call
I
it?
don't have a body count, but it was.
I have a body count.
No,
but
I don't even bother count.
What do you call it? What do you mean?
promiscuous.
Oh.
I did a lot. When I moved out of the house, I think I was going for some kind of fucking record.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really, I slept with a lot of men, and I slept with women, but it was different with men though. Like, I slept with men because I thought that's what now I know. I wanted them to like me. I wanted them to like me, and that's what I was taught, that's the only thing that men value.
Oh yeah.
So,
The power of the pussy.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
I
say
got
it.
that sense.
So I slept with a lot
later,
of men.
or from men,
Mm-hmm.
not from.
The golden box. Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Like
No.
No, and I think that I
That's
had a lot
weird.
of boyfriends that were really not nice people because of that.
hmm
Like, because
especially younger, when you're in your late teens, early
Mhm.
20s, they were just douchey
I mean, they're
about
kind
it.
of guys are
Yeah.
kind of
Splooshy and douchey.
splooshy and douchey, yeah.
Douching my
Well, I don't know
with
why.
your sploosh.
Okay, so when I was 14, I was 14, maybe I was 13. I had a boyfriend who was 15. He was I was
No,
13
just
and
kidding.
he was 14. He turned 15 afterward. This comes into
Dirty,
play because
dirty
there
bird.
was the law got involved. So this was a hugely traumatic experience in my life that I don't actually
no.
talk about that much, but I was messing around with this boy. I wanted him to like me. He was a ginger with a mullet, of course.
Hot.
And actually looking back, he was my first kiss and it was the worst kiss ever. He was like a
Oh.
super darty tongue guy, and he kissed with his eyes open.
Oh,
So it was
boy.
like, "Ah!" It was like he's eating your face.
Like a chameleon.
Yeah, it was a
Lizard
really
boy.
but I wanted him to like me, and he had an older cousin that he lived with, and these guys were all juniors and seniors in high school, like his older cousin and their friends. So it was a group of my friends and I that were messing around with these older boys. I had this horrific guilt and fear of getting caught, but at the same time, I really wanted this boy to like me, and I really wanted to be cool. And I wanted everybody else to think I was cool. And when it came down to it, like the moment of, like, because he was really pressuring me into having sex with him, he tried to put it in, and it hurt really bad, and I cried and made him stop. And that was the end of it. But because I didn't have a parent that talked to me about sex, I thought I was pregnant.
Oh.
Because I didn't know. I had my first period earlier that year, but I also was very irregular. Like, I didn't have regular periods, and later in life, like, this would be something that would go on, like, I was on hormones and all kinds of shit for weird crap. I hemorrhaged and bad things happened, but I didn't understand that, like, I had been told that you could get pregnant from being in a swimming pool with a boy that ejaculated, and, like, all of these urban legends,
Oh,
because
wow.
we didn't
Serious
have
sperm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It lives with the
swimmers.
chlorine.
Yeah, so I didn't have a period. And so I had my friend's older brother steal a pregnancy test, and it was this big thing. But of course, when you're in the fucking 7th grade, you're writing notes with your friends documenting all of this. And my mom found my notes because she was going through my shit in my room.
Oh boy.
So this is what happened. And this is something I used to laugh about, and I've only really allowed myself to have real feels about in recent years. My dad came to the high school, to the middle school, and had me pulled out of class and drug me out of the school by my hair and stuck me in his pickup truck and slammed my head against the passenger side window of the car from the high school to my grandma's house where the police were waiting. And they called the police and turned in all the boys.
Oh
And
my God.
Get out
I,
the pitchforks and
yeah,
flames.
I got a charge of sexual
Jeez.
misconduct
What?
from the juvenile courts. I had to be interviewed by police officers, and, like, they asked
What
me
did you
questions
do? How
about
did
where
Talk about a small town.
Yeah.
if there was sticky substance in my underwear. Like, they asked me all of
Only
these
my own.
questions. And then I had to sit with my parents and have Robin Pelton. I fucking hated her. She was the juvenile detention officer. And I know there are people, if anyone from Tillamook that went to high school in the 90s hears this, they're going to be holla and high five me because they all hated her too. She read all of the notes the police took out loud in front of my parents with me sitting with them. I had to go to counseling. And my parents took me on what I called the Great Shame Tour. And we went from house to all of my friends. And my parents sat us down and told all my friends what I had been up to. And what their kids, if their kids were involved. And, yeah.
The Tillamook version of the Scarlet Letter.
Yes. They may as well
God.
fucking... My mom should have embroidered an A and put it on all of my clothes.
Holy shit.
So that was like my first sexual experience.
No wonder why you didn't want anything to do or weren't comfortable with that until much later in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about knocking you in the dirt.
Yeah.
Like, it was a
Whoa.
weird... That is what... Like, it was not awesome.
No.
No, and the only time my parents ever grounded me and stuck to it was for that whole situation.
Your sexual misconduct.
So I was grounded for a year.
Jesus.
I wasn't allowed to go hang out with any of my friends. And I wasn't allowed to hang out with the friends that I was with when all this happened again until my senior year in high school. When we were like 18.
When you're already doing
and
it
we're
anyway.
like, hey, I'm going over to this person's house.
Wow.
Like, there was a lot. I mean, that's just the scrape the surface of that story. There was a lot that, like, you know, like, what do you call it? A superficial suicide attempt, so just for attention and, like, but I think it's all, like, and I want to get more into this kind of shit when we do our episode on mental health, but, like, self-harming, like, that's when all that shit started for me.
Well, yeah, that's what that kind of shame leads to.
Mhm.
Like, you start feeling like you're bad.
Yeah. And then I didn't have, like, actual legitimate sex again. Like
for a long time.
I was 16. I decided when I was 16, I don't know why. This is another thing, and I think it must have been movies or TV shows that we were watching at the time, but I decided I should lose my virginity on my 16th birthday. Like, I just got this into my head.
Dun, dun,
There's
dun,
16
dun.
candles of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I should do that, and I had sex with my boyfriend, and it was awful, because the first
hurt?
time you have sex is never.
Yeah.
And I was so tense, I can
Awkward.
remember my hands and feet going tingly. And to this day, and they've been playing it so much on the Brew, the radio station. I've been listening to the radio in my studio. The fucking Def Leppard song, all "When you make love, do you look in the mirror?" And that was the song that was playing.
God.
Love Bites. That's it. I hate that song to this day because all I can picture is me having sex with this.
Ooh,
fucking,
yeah.
It's awful. But it was horrible, and he cheated on me with my best friend the next day.
Fuck. Rude, douchey young men.
Yeah. But, you know, but I just had, like, I feel like it definitely, like, my upbringing and the attitude about sex in my parents' house had a detrimental effect on the way that I viewed sex for most of my life. Like, until the recent years.
Yeah.
Well, and
Wow.
I didn't think having sex with women counted.
Yeah, who's counting?
But, you know, now it's just been in recent years that I'm okay with saying, yeah, I'm bisexual. I like girls too. But it was just like, I didn't tell anyone about it. I mean, fuck, the only thing that I had to look at was my dad's Playboys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yep.
you know what's weird though? See, again, now I just did this to myself again because I said I didn't touch myself and I didn't masturbate, which I didn't. But I did. I was touching other girls when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we were doing. Like,
Checking it out. I'm not allowed to touch me because I'm dirty.
Yeah.
It's dirty.
Yeah.
But
But
nobody
here's
said anything
the
about
thing.
touching you. Come
I
here,
never
you.
even thought of that as sex. I never thought about what I was doing as sex.
It was just.
Exploration.
I was
Yeah.
just...
Checking out the
I don't know.
scenery.
It was weird. And I was licking little vaginas. I mean, like, but again, I've totally played that off. Like, even in this conversation, I never viewed that as sex, though. I just didn't. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't with a boy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That would be my guess.
And I wasn't touching my vagina myself.
Yep.
I mean, this is when I was young enough, like, because by the time I got old enough that it was really, like, I guess, too, when I was that little, sex wasn't that much of a topic in our house, because I was pretty young when this was going on. It wasn't really until I started, like, puberty started happening that it got really weird. Or that I think I even paid attention or knew what my parents meant when they were talking about that kind of stuff. So, and it was so confusing to me too, because I found my mom's vibrator once. And I was old enough that I knew what a vibrator was.
Wait till your mother calls and tells you she just bought one. Jesus.
Oh, my mom would never in a million fucking years do that. Like, she wouldn't know. I just had to give her a sex talk because was dating this guy, and I'm like, look, Mom, like, they weren't doing it. But I needed her to understand that just because she has had a hysterectomy doesn't mean that she doesn't need to use condoms. Like, that is what I was trying to get at with her, was that I know that you can't get pregnant, but you don't know his sexual history.
You know what's living in there.
And she's like, well, he doesn't look like someone that would have that. And I'm like,
They
Mother,
never do.
if people looked like they had herpes would just die out because people would go, ew, you look like you have herpes. I'm not going to have sex with you.
Yeah.
You know, she's like, oh, I never thought of. But I had to throw peanuts at her, not penis, peanuts. I had a bowl of peanuts in front of me, and she kept going, I'm not talking about this. So I bounced peanuts off of her head to shut her up while I was trying to get this
Educate
to
her on,
because she doesn't.
He doesn't look like he'd have herpes.
Yeah,
No.
Define that.
He didn't look like
I mean,
he'd
he
have
washes
chlamydia.
his hair. I'm sure he's fine.
He smelled, Irish Spring White.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. He smelled like Old Spice.
What was sex ed like when you guys were in high school? Like, and in middle school? How was that handled? Like,
They hesitantly showed us how to put a condom on a banana.
Well, we didn't even have that.
Yeah, we
But
didn't
then
have
they're
that.
like, but abstinence
video.
is the only way that you're not going to get pregnant or an STD. Just let you know, abstinence is the only 100% way. But here's how you put a condom on a banana. If you have to. Kind of like that.
Really? We had the coach that scared the shit out of us.
We didn't. Ours was all very scientific. There were movies and diagrams and lectures, and that was it.
Wow.
And class is over. Go. You know,
Yeah.
but we didn't have the banana condom thing.
No.
Which is so weird because based on our ages, you think about this. When we were, at least you and I, while we were in high school, we were coming up through the era where AIDS was finally being
Yeah, but they
documented,
didn't.
but
But all
it
they
was
did
never
was
talked
say it
about.
was homosexuals that had it.
Yeah,
like, that
they
was,
never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
nothing about
that actually really, really.
I think that's
affected
where
me
the
deeply,
condom on the
too.
banana came from, is because of the AIDS epidemic.
Yeah, but
They're
you have
like,
to remember that the
"Fuck,
Reagans
I guess
did their
we gotta
best to
have to
suppress
show
that.
you guys how to
and-
use this
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
AIDS. But you just shouldn't do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just don't do it,
Just don't
and
do
then
it.
you don't have to worry about it because
And everything's clean and
Yeah.
sparkly.
yeah, yeah. It's like right. I'm going to do it with my boyfriend right now.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing me how to use a condom. Bye.
I was
you-
on the pill when
See,
I
I
had
was
to
on
have
the
that conversation
pill.
with my mom, and she was like, well, I don't like the idea, but let's get you an appointment at Planned Parenthood and get you on something. I don't really like the idea that you're talking about having sex with that guy because I don't like that guy, but I'd rather you have something than nothing because I know you and you'll just do whatever you want. And
See,
That's how I was too.
I'm
we
gonna do
didn't
it.
have Planned Parenthood at the coast, so even if we wanted to, we had to go to the health department, and there was no
Ugh.
HIPAA. There were no HIPAA laws then.
God only knows who you
So
run into.
Yeah.
somebody's mom, we didn't go there because somebody's mom was going to see you go there
Pack
and
up, I
call
gotta
your
go to Portland.
mom.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So we did. We would come to Portland. I was on birth control because I had such weird periods and stuff, but there was even this level of shame for having to be on birth control
Oh, man.
for a medical reason.
Yeah.
Because like the third time I had a period, I hemorrhaged. Like I had a faucet running out of me.
Oh,
I had to go to
God.
the doctor, and then the fucking old guy who did my exam was all like trying to make it like funny somehow
And
or
when you're young like
comfort
that-
me.
Oh.
And I'm in there with my mom, and old man's looking at my naked vagina, and he gets out what are those things called? The salad tongs they grab babies out with? Forceps?
Uh-huh.
He goes, "No, this is what we use." I had never seen a speculum, so I didn't know that you didn't use forceps. And I'm like, what?
Oh
I got hysterical, and I was already crying. I had to get out of a vehicle and walk through a parking lot in a small town wearing my mom's sweatpants, wearing my mother's underwear, with a bath towel, a whole bath towel rolled up and shoved between my legs. I was in no mood to fucking joke about anything.
Yeah.
And this old man, bless him, he was uncomfortable. He was trying to be like...
A bloodbath down there. I want
I
no part
think
of
he
this.
was trying to like make it a lighter situation. But it was all just traumatic and awful. But I still felt this level of shame. Like it was my fault for having a dirty vagina that all this was even happening. I'm sorry if I kicked someone just now.
Both of us. I think.
Kicked you. It was got a twofer.
I keep thinking about the slut shaming thing, and there was this girl in my high school, and her name was Bunny Jones, which is fucking awesome, I think.
That's an awesome name.
It is
And
now, but back then it probably
yeah,
wasn't. Sound so awesome.
she was completely slut shamed all the time, and I just
Just
hope,
because her name was Bunny.
yeah, and she was a rocker chick, and she had like a hot little bod because she developed before everybody else, and everybody just started making assumptions about her just based on her appearance and how she listened to, metal, and she was like, she would go in the gym and just work out all the time. Like, she was just kind of badass now looking back but I hope to God I never joined in on that. And I probably did. I probably made jokes about her.
I think that we probably did
and
because it's what everybody else was doing. And it was
now
like...
I wish I could just go give her a hug and be like, I am so sorry. You were so fucking awesome. And I am so sorry that people were such dicks to you. It just sucks. I really see her in my mind in gym class working out. Like, I'm just like, buddy, I'm sorry,
Well, I mean, as you can imagine, like, all that shit that happened to me within the 7th grade stuck through high school. Because, like, cops were called. People got in trouble.
Fuck, yeah.
Granted, I'm going to say that the junior and senior boys who were messing around with my other 7th grade friends should have gotten in trouble. They were grown men. They were 18 years old. They shouldn't have been having anything to do with 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
And here I am. I was the
legally
minor.
speaking.
I was the minor lying about my age so that older guys would have sex with me because I didn't like any of the guys
but here's
at my school.
The thing. They knew. These guys were fully aware of how old those girls were. That 23-year-old
man is fucking hot, and I'm 16.
See, I would have flirted, but I wouldn't have had sex with them. I would have been like... When it came down to it, I would have been like, what? No way.
I did. And I caused issues, too, because actually my parents were supposedly going camping, but I didn't notice that the boat was still in the driveway, and of course they're going to take the boat when they go camping. So I was like, okay, I had my man friend come over, and he was 23 at the time, and I think I was just barely 17, almost 17. And so we were all naked in my room, and we got done doing our thing, and then I made him breakfast because I was awesome, I was a good hostess. So I made him a little breakfast sandwich, and we're sitting there naked in my room eating breakfast sandwiches, and my mom and the guy she was dating at the time walked in, and I got slut shamed. I forgot all about this. Is just like all coming back to me. The guy my mom was dating was like, "We don't run a fucking whorehouse here." Chased Kevin out. The guy that was there.
Tevin with the T, right?
Tevin, yeah. Devin. Anyway, chased him out, and I got berated and slut shamed, and they made me go with them camping. We can't trust you to leave you here alone now.
Really nice girl. I wouldn't take that crap off any one of my mom's boyfriends.
Oh, he was.
I'm like, no,
he
we're not having
got out. I think he went for his gun, and like he was fucking crazy. He had PTSD, and he was like, he was really fucked up. And so then I had to go camping and get slut shamed all weekend and listen to Huey Lewis in the news when I just wanted to be naked with my boyfriend eating sandwiches. God damn it!
If I only had the
fucking
common sense, I could have just said, "What? We're just having breakfast."
I know.
Get out of my room. I didn't. You want me to make you something?
It's hot in here. It's summertime. We're fucking hot.
I was cooking.
Yeah. We're just chilling. We're chilling.
Yeah. Now it'd be completely different if you're sitting in your own bed and somebody walked in on you while you're eating breakfast sandwiches with some random guy. You're like, what?
What? This is how I roll.
Yeah, one bite?
Yeah. I'll make you one too. Shut
Excuse
the
me.
fuck up. That'll
Yeah.
shut you the fuck up if I put a fucking breakfast sandwich
Now,
in
if I
your
burn my
mouth.
nipple on this frying pan making your breakfast, I'm gonna be mad.
Shit's going down.
Damn it. And it's so funny because I didn't think of it as shame. I was just pissed that I didn't get to continue just spending the weekend having
Yeah.
sex with my
Yeah.
boyfriend. Like, I was just mad about, like, having to go camping and listening to
Plans
bad
got
music.
interrupted by
I'm
Huey Lewis
sorry,
in the
but
news.
Huey Lewis is not bad music. I don't know
Okay.
what you're talking
I don't know, it's
He
pretty
annoyed
bad.
me at the time.
Yeah.
It was like, by the time you're sick of Huey Lewis,
Oh, no,
it
I'm
was
just giving
that
you shit.
moment.
When your parents started thinking Huey was cool, that's when
Yeah,
you
yeah,
knew.
Stop
exactly,
thinking he was
yeah.
cool.
Power of love.
Oh, you know, that's
I'm
a
like,
bad
yeah,
one.
it is curious, and why am I not with my boyfriend right now?
Right?
No. Yeah, but yeah, I definitely was shamed pretty badly in that one, but I just didn't
Mhm.
even. It registered as something else.
Well,
you know?
I mean,
it was
Just
just
an
like,
ass whooping.
yeah, as this major
See,
inconvenience.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, inconvenient. Damn it, my
Damn
breakfast has been interrupted.
Yeah, exactly.
You
And
know?
those were good. I made some good breakfast sandwiches.
You're making me hungry.
And
I
he
was-
was so cute and tall.
Did you talk to him again after
and
that?
skinny and cute.
Like, did you guys stay together? Or
Yeah.
okay.
we-
I'm just like he.
from a distance. It took a while,
From a
and then he was like,
distance.
"Hey, are you okay?"
The guy
You know,
with the
he
gun's
was
gone now.
Yeah, he was nice, and he was concerned because
Mhm.
he could see that my mom was definitely with a psycho dude, and that I was kind of in a scary situation. So
Yeah.
he was
I
really
feel
sweet
like,
about
though,
it, and he
I-
felt really weird about it, and he
Yeah.
was really
How was your
sweet.
sandwich?
Yeah, I know. I was like,
How's your sandwich? That was cool.
I feel like there's a
Good
difference
sandwich.
between 17 and 23, and then 13 and 18 though. Like I feel like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you're 17, you're old enough, you're
Yeah.
and
you're making
I think
decisions
as
for
women
yourself.
we do mature faster.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Than guys, so like
Oh,
the guys
totally.
my age were just like, ew, they didn't even
No.
appeal to me.
I didn't-
in high school.
Yeah.
No, I didn't have a comfortable
And I
relationship.
didn't want to give them the power or the weaponry to slut shame
to
me
in school. Yep.
So I'm like, sorry, none of you bitches are getting any.
Mhm. No.
Because I can't trust you.
I only dated 2 guys from my high school when I was in high school because all the guys I dated were from other schools.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't want
I would do that too.
either.
The neighboring school.
Plus, all the guys that I was interested in my high school were actually little hoodlums and had done community service with my dad. Because my dad worked for the county parks department, so that's where they got sent
They
to
had
do
to go
community
Border Patrol.
service. So my dad knew all of them, was like, "You're not dating that guy." And I'm like,
Why? Because he has to pick up trash on the weekend?
yeah. Because he would know what they did. And so,
The
yeah. And I
heinous
think that
act.
they were all afraid to date me because of that.
Oh God, yeah.
Also, my
That
dad was
sucks.
the guy that he got out his shotgun and cleaned it one time when a date was picking me up because he didn't like the guy I was dating, and he looked through the barrel of the shotgun, going, "So, Gordon, what time are you gonna have Katie home?"
Oh God.
He was a little douchebag,
Yeah, that's he got that out of the dad textbook.
but I know it's so stupid.
I know.
It's so weird.
Did you ever get busted? Did you ever get caught with a boy in your room? Or
No.
anything? You
I
didn't.
was super slim shady about it.
Ooh,
I never,
good job.
Never got busted. My brother busted me a few times,
Yeah,
but my mother never caught me.
awesome. Good
I
job.
I never got caught
Really
doing
cool.
that
I've
ever.
never got caught
I
naked
did
with a
have
boy.
no, but I had a boyfriend
I
come
was
back
such a
and live
fat-
at
I was-
home with me, like after I moved out and came back home. And I don't know what my parents thought we were doing. But I slept on the couch and he slept in my room though when my parents were around. But at the time, my grandma was on hospice, so I think that everybody was. And I think by that time I had already moved out and lived on my own and came back home. So I'm pretty sure the cat was out of the bag on that whole situation. Also, because I lived with my cousin, we were roommates, and she fucking shamed the shit out of me. Because I had a lot of guys come over.
I had somebody dating me shame me at one point
Oh, I've
because I wasn't willing to
I've
have
been
sex
in
with
that.
him fast enough and on his schedule. He went back to somebody else that I had slept with. He's like, "You fucked him, but you won't fuck me," and I'm like,
He bought
We're
me
breaking up.
dinner.
Yeah,
No.
you're done.
I'm like, "I don't want to see you anymore.
yeah.
Stay away from the front door.
well, this
Quit
is,
stalking me."
yeah. I think that
Wow.
my history with being shamed very much played into why I stayed with and had a relationship with my son's dad for so long, because he used to do shit where, like, he would be like, I want to try this or I want to try that. And I would try it. And then he would shame me for doing it.
That's the most asinine shit.
Yeah. And make me feel really horrible about myself. Like, really horrible.
That's
like,
a-
he would want me to let him put it in my butt, and I would let him put it in my butt.
I
And
can't believe you let me do that.
or him, because
That's what he wanted.
I was being, like, trying to be, what does Dan Savage
GGG?
call that? GGG. I was all like, okay, I'm game. I'll give it a try. And then he would shame me for allowing him to do that. And call, like, basically tell me I was a whore because I had let him put it in my butt.
Put it in your butt.
Mhm.
I had my son's father did me a huge favor, even though we had a weird, but he helped me so much with my sexuality because he got me this book, and this is so fucking cheesy because it's called How to Drive Your Man Wild in Bed, which is like, oh my God, what the fuck is this? And at first I was offended, and then I was like, all right, I'll read this shit.
Does it come with pictures?
I know. No,
Oh,
I was like,
diagrams.
but it was so fucking helpful because it was like telling me to focus on how good it feels and to focus on what's going on in my junk area
Mhm.
while I'm having sex and to really like feel it, and it totally changed. It gave me the ability to have orgasm from sex. You know what I didn't have
Yeah.
before because I thought, oh, that only happens from the.
How old were you the first time you had an orgasm from sex?
Ugh.
I think I was 19. So,
That's
and
about
I
how
was
old
young
I
when I
was.
started. I was like, I started having sex when I was like 13. So,
I was like 14, almost 15 when I lost my virginity.
mhm.
And as far as the first orgasm from sex, I couldn't tell you, but I know it was very late in life.
Mhm.
Very late in life.
It helped. It taught me because, like, I didn't know that I could enjoy it so much, and that would in turn make my man enjoy it too. That was kind of where the book was coming
Yeah.
from. Like, you enjoying it will make your man.
I'm going to
enjoy
do
it.
me.
Yeah.
You do you.
Yeah,
So
and
really,
so
it
if
was-
I'm doing me, he's enjoying this.
It was
Ooh,
a
like
helpful
this
book
ding ding ding.
Had an
yeah.
unfortunate title.
Yes, yes, yeah. Because I was like, oh fuck, really? You want me to? Okay.
You know, the first orgasm I had was totally, like, from sex. It was a complete accident. And it was with this guy. I didn't know that it was...
He wasn't
it just,
trying to give you one.
No, it just hit me all of a sudden. Like, I didn't... Whoa!
Oh,
I guess
this
surprise is a
all
better
about
word.
me.
I guess surprise is a better word. But I didn't, like, it was a one-night stand. It was a guy that, like, my friend and she made me go with her to meet her boyfriend who lived in Salem. And we hung out with him at a Denny's restaurant, and he had this friend who was so fucking hot. Oh my God.
Looked like a Viking.
My nipples are getting hard right now just thinking about him. He had like a blonde mohawk. and
Ew.
He was,
I love
he was
the
a
punk
punk
rock
rock
boys.
kid, and he was so fucking hot, and he was so funny. And then she ditched us. They ditched us to go have sex in her boyfriend's car somewhere.
Oh, okay.
And so I was alone with this guy in her boyfriend's room, and one thing led to another.
Somebody passed you the ball and you ran with
And
it.
it happened. Well, I didn't even. I was like, I'm going to sleep over here. And then he was like, hey, come over here. And I'm like, well, all right then. And we were just making out. And then we ended up having sex. And then I was like, whoa, what is happening to me? Like, I didn't know that was a thing. Like, I just... Because
Like,
it
that
was
was so
I always
different.
thought it had to be like clitoral, and that
Yeah.
was it. Like that.
Yeah.
That was the only way I could actually.
Yeah. And actually,
then I
that's
was like,
probably the first time I
oh,
had sex with a boy on top and was comfortable with it. So, and he...
And then you get to be.
Yeah, and he told me to. He's like, be on top. You do it. And then,
Okay.
and I was like, okay. I wasn't comfortable with it. But then I was
I
like,
know.
yeah. But it was dark. I did have my shirt on. I left my t-shirt on, and all the lights were off. But then my friend got really fucking mad at me because I had sex with him because I guess he had a girlfriend. I didn't know he had a girlfriend. I just met him. And so she made me walk home the next morning. She wouldn't give me a ride.
Another
She was a
shaming.
jerk.
Another
Yeah.
shaming because so it's not you that was in the relationship, it is him. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
he obviously was a skeezy motherfucker because he didn't tell you he had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not that it would have necessarily changed anything,
No.
but
Yeah.
you could have at least said, well, I have a girlfriend. You'd be like, meh. And then you
Yeah.
can make the call either way.
Yeah,
but
I probably wouldn't have slept with him if he said he'd had a girlfriend, but he didn't even, I didn't ask, but he didn't, I assumed that if he was inviting me into his bed, he didn't have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I've been in that situation before.
boys are funny.
And then we were getting up the next morning. He got up the next morning and he's like, "Oh, I gotta go. I'm having breakfast with my girlfriend." And I was like, "Oh fuck, what?" Like I felt so bad. I was like, "Shit,
I have
I'm an asshole."
more.
But what is his? He was the asshole. Yeah.
I have one more recent where we started out as friends and things got developed into much more than friendship, like excellent sex, the best probably I've ever had in my life. And it was totally casual, no strings attached. But we were both like really into it. And then out of nowhere, he's like, "Oh, well, I'm moving." And I'm like, "Oh, where are you moving to?" "Oh, I'm moving to XYZ. I just bought a house with my girlfriend." I'm like,
You're like,
"Wait a minute,
"Oh."
when we started this little adventure, didn't I ask you if you had a girlfriend? You told me you did, but you guys had broken up." "Well, yeah, okay." And then, like, I don't see or hear from him for a while. He's moved off to someplace where it's not anywhere near where I live. And I'm like, still stayed in touch, still occasionally had sex. The next thing I know, somebody's like, "Did you hear so-and-so's getting married?" I'm like, what is going on? First, no girlfriend. Now he's moving in with them, bought a house. Next thing you know, married. Next thing you know, pregnant. I'm like, what in the hell? I'm like,
Wow.
so, and in the same time, though, still in constant contact and still occasionally pursuing our most fantastic sex. I'm like,
Wow.
it ended a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Not by choice.
Yeah, that's tough.
I
That-
suck. I'm a sucky human being, and I know it.
No,
But
didn't that give
um,
you the hurt? I mean, didn't that hurt?
No.
Like, no?
no,
Okay.
it didn't hurt at all. I was just very confused by it. I'm like, dude, congratulations, you bought a house. Yeah, why did I have to hear through the grapevine? I'm like, I'm totally cool with you having a life. You know, if this is what you're wanting to do, do it. And as far as what we have going on over here, I'm fine with that.
Wow.
No,
Yeah.
I want the best for you. I know this is just sex, and I know this is just friendship, and we're not going to combine those two.
I think this kind of speaks to another misnomer and a weird thing about women having sex is that
Oh.
Christy's capable of doing that. We're all capable of doing that.
Yeah.
being
Like,
just a booty
we don't
call,
have to be
essentially.
well, and
It
we
doesn't
don't
have to be emotional.
we
No.
don't. Yeah,
It
Yeah.
wasn't.
it doesn't have to be that way. And
It was non-emotional.
I tend
for
to
me.
just get that way. I don't know. And I just know that that's part of my nature where I just get attached. And, like, I tried so hard for a while to have just the casual, like, guy friend. And then I would always just get the feels. Like, oh,
Yeah.
dang it. Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
I think
Or they would get the feels when I didn't.
That
Or,
happened
you
to me
know,
a lot.
Like, yeah, vice versa, too.
they would
you
get
know?
the feels, and I would be like,
Yeah.
I don't have the feels in that way.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know if that's ever happened. I know I've had the feels, but I'm not thinking of any time where it wasn't me having the feels, and it was him actually. I can't think of it. Maybe
That's happened
once
to
or
me a couple
twice, but it
times.
was like very short and fleeting. And I'm like, dude, I told you no, go away.
Actually,
Yeah.
I had the most horrible thing happen to me. Remember I had a garage sale the summer before last? Was it last summer or the summer before? It was last summer. And my mom came up and stayed with me, and I was having a garage sale, and this guy walks down into my garage, and I'm like, fuck, he looks really familiar. Like, I know this guy from somewhere. And I was looking at him, and all of a sudden I just blurted out loud, "Oh my God, I dated you." And he's like, "You did?" And I'm like, because I don't look anything like I did when I was 20.
None
I'm
of
like
us do,
two
dear.
of me when I was 20. And I'm like, yeah, we dated. Like, and I was telling him, like, I worked at Washington Square and blah, blah, blah. And was, like, giving him the time frame. And he's like, "Oh, that's you?" And then his face changed. And then I started remembering, oh, that didn't end well.
Oh, no.
Like, he liked me more than I liked him, and I wasn't very nice to him. And we had sex, and he got the feels really badly, and I was
We're like,
a
dude.
fucking jerk. I was a huge jerk. I was like,
I did that to Scott.
I'm going to admit that I kind of strung him along a little bit because he was really nice to me, and
I can't stand people who are too nice to me when I don't have the feels for you.
Yeah.
It makes
yeah.
me freaking crazy.
It is
I will
creepy.
cut you loose so damn fast.
Yeah.
Don't be nice to me. Just be you. But if you try to get too warm and huggy, no, I will cut you loose.
yeah, this was, he
No.
really wanted, and he actually he got really angry with me, and he was like, "I'm not going to be your friend anymore.
Yes,
I need more from you than this." Like, it took a long time for him to do that. And I think that you're just like, he called me on my shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was kind of a jerk. I really was. And I felt so horrible afterward because I was like, oh my God, we dated. And then I'm like,
Oh shit.
oh, wait a minute. Because he goes, oh, that was you. And his face changed. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh. And then I just wanted him to leave because he stood around looking at stuff. And I think that he was just trying to find, like, place the story in his head. Like, it was 20-something years ago. It was a long time ago. So we were like, it was more than that because I was like 18, 19. So it was bad. It was embarrassing and weird. But he was in like one in this string of
Yeah.
Yeah.
when I was going for an Olympic world record.
Yeah.
Of
Do you ever run into people that you've maybe not ended on such positive terms with?
Yeah, all the time. All the time.
On
Portland is so small
It
still.
is.
Amen.
Even
That's
with
what I
all
was
these
thinking, too.
people, I know, I look across the bar and I'm like,
Oh crap.
oh yeah, fuck, there's that guy.
Yeah.
well,
like-
then I kind of fall into this weird like
But I'm like,
Didn't I
oh,
tell him
they
to
don't
drop dead?
recognize
They
me
don't know
because
you,
I'm
yeah.
so much bigger. And I've actually had to say to some people, like I ran into, I can't remember who it was with this guy that I had dated, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm like twice the size I was when you knew me. And then they're like, oh yeah, you. I'm like, yeah, that's me. Hey, like, it's so weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
Portland is.
It's so
I have
tiny.
some
I
ghosts
kind of
here
fear
that-
running into some
all the time.
ex
Yeah.
dudes that
I have some.
I'm surprised I haven't run into more of them.
My fishing hole is where I go to drink. Because I
Mhm.
used to call it my fishing hole.
Awesome.
I still do it on occasion, even though my game's way off these
Put your
days. but
fishnets on.
yeah, I get cast out and see what I can snatch.
Mhm.
But anytime I go there, I am always like, okay, who the hell's going to show up tonight that I don't want to deal with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm always lucky when I can clear the evening when not having to run into somebody that it ended badly with. Like, dude, I told you to drop dead. Obviously, you didn't listen. Why are you in my bar? That kind of thought is running through my head anytime I'm in there thinking, okay, this is going to be the night I've got that weird juju sense going. That fucker's going to show up tonight. I can just see it. I can see it. I can see it. And then when I can make it through the evening and not having to run into him, it's like, yes.
No, I do. There are a couple of big heartbreaks that I had when I was in my late teens, early 20s that I'm afraid of running into now. Like, I just don't want to see them mostly because I don't want them to be like, oh, you got fat. But also
know,
just
that's-
because that was it was, you have those.
Oh yeah, I had lots of those.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Jerks.
Yeah.
But really, though, I think we're getting close to coming up on an hour here. Yeah. Whoa.
Psychic Katie. She's
Yeah.
in touch with her phone.
I could just tell the time, that's all.
oh.
I can tell time. So, I kind of want to wrap up with like a
Even
positive,
with all
like
her
a...
whoring around.
Yeah, even with all my whoring around. Like... I think
kidding.
that, like, I don't want this... I want the podcast to be, like, not this exhibitionist. We're talking about, sex stuff, but I feel like I want to do it in a useful way. So, I mean, like, I think the takeaway today is that people shouldn't feel shame
Yeah.
about their sexuality or having
Agreed.
sex.
Yeah.
It's not dirty. It's not gross. It's natural.
yeah.
You don't have to be married to have sex, contrary to
No.
what people
No.
tell you. You don't
And my
have to
only
save
point
it.
with earlier with the breeding thing was just like that's how we got here.
No,
what
no, I know.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
That's how I
it's
got
a
here.
biological function.
Yeah.
Like, we
That's how our
were
parents
made
were
with
raised.
jibbly bits that stick into each other.
Yeah.
and that's
Yep.
Male to female.
Yeah.
Ooh, and the
Or
baby
female to
comes
female or
out.
male to male.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking matter. Like,
Whatever makes
I just think the stigma and the weirdness about sex is confusing to me. I
Yeah.
don't understand it. And
I don't either.
And as women, we have just as much power to go out and have sex with whoever we want as often as we want, without having to be having
Yeah.
that shame placed on us that we shouldn't be doing that because we're women. It's
Right.
shit, and I don't
Truly,
think that.
yeah.
I'm not taking it.
I
yeah.
feel like as long
No,
as
I
you
didn't.
are...
I like
I'm not doing that.
like my mom's boyfriend calling me a whore. He got a fucking earful for me. I'm not gonna let some asshole call me a
No.
whore.
Who's out
No.
already been out on the
Yeah.
out on the town sticking his dick in anything and
Yeah,
everything?
exactly.
Yeah, I'm not going out that way.
Exactly. No, I never put
I'm not
up with
doing
that
it.
shit. No way.
Mm-mm.
Mine, I'm going to do with what I want.
No, and
What goes in must come out.
Yeah.
Yep.
I also think that I would say to women who still of any age who struggle with being a sexual being because of the way that we were taught to think about sex, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, I've overcome it.
Mm-hmm.
I did go to a therapist. I talked about it a lot to get to where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that you can have a healthy attitude about sex.
Absolutely.
It's possible. And
Because there's also no shame in not wanting to do it.
there's
also.
absolutely no shame
There's
in
no
just,
shame in just if you're not.
it's your
interested in
body.
sex.
You
Yeah.
own your body.
Yep. You get to
whatever
do
you
whatever
feel
Share it,
want.
for
don't share it.
whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's yours.
Yours. Do what you want with
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Nobody else can tell you shit.
I'm gonna ride this
And no
bitch
one
into
else
the
should
grave.
make you feel shame. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
don't feel like doing it, or if you do feel like doing it a lot, like, or however you do it, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever you do with
How
it.
you choose
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah, it's like, no,
Who you do it
up
with.
to you.
No, and if you are someone
Yeah.
who struggles with this like stigma, but you feel like you want to be more sexual, or you feel like you want to own your body more, I urge you to go talk to a good therapist. There's
Unless
no
they shame you, then
no,
stop
well,
seeing that
that's why I
Yeah.
said good
Yeah.
therapists,
Then find
because there
another
are
one.
good
Mhm.
therapists and bad therapists.
Yeah.
What's this? So, yeah, we
Yeah.
stopped recording again for some reason. Remind me next time we record to turn it so the screen doesn't go to screensaver.
Ah, okay.
That's what made it stop.
Okay.
Anyway, I was just saying, there are good therapists and bad therapists. If your therapist is shaming you for anything ever, that's a bad therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Really
another thing
bad.
that we should talk about on this show. And to get a different one, they shouldn't
Mm-hmm.
shame you. But, yeah, don't let society
Decide
decide
for you.
what's good, what's okay for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like-
seriously, we've been doing that for too long.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck
And we're
that
just
shit.
as sexual as men.
Yeah.
And
I mean, try to be safe. If
Oh,
you can,
always be safe.
and kind
Always
with
be
yourself,
safe.
and but I mean, whatever.
use
limit-
protection. Be
Yeah.
smart. But,
Yeah,
but don't feel like you're doing something bad.
yeah. I guess even if you're not safe, whatever. I
Mhm.
guess that's up to
It's
you.
trial and error.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Yep.
All right. I hope this was helpful to everybody.
I think it was cool.
And this is part 1 of 2. And for next month, my friend Sharon and my friend Helen are coming to talk. And we worked at Planned Parenthood together.
it's so awesome.
And we're going to get into like sex from like a public health standpoint, and just from, we'll probably also get into similar topics that we talked about here, like that there shouldn't be shame attached to sex. But I think it's going to be pretty interesting. It's also going to be kind of hilarious because we were the three. We worked so good together. When we worked together, we were like the Three Musketeers.
That's
it was
awesome.
So
Yay.
anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next month.
Bye bye.